and welcome once again to the Dr. Zeero Xiron Free Magic Secrets Show. When we investigate all forms of magic, we talk about all kinds of things and stuff. Talk about crazy events in world history. We talk about the cool book I wrote called Apex Unhinged. Apex Unhinged, which you should definitely Google. Talk about the cool music I've been making. Use the Suno. Been posting on this channel. We make commentary on the occult underground, different things people are saying. And, as at this point, at this juncture of this program, I thought it'd be good to talk about something really bedrock. Because I know it's something that I've mentioned in the past multiple times. And it's been a consistent thing that has been... Sorry. We like to keep it raw and live at the Dr. Zeero Xiron Free Magic Secrets Show, where you will definitely hear all the sounds of the city going on by me. But we're talking about something very special. And it's about how it is unfortunate, yet somewhat of a blessing at the same time, that the word magic, M-A-G-I-C-K, is completely misunderstood. As well as having all kinds of different applications and meanings. And one person talking about one thing may not be the other person talking about the other thing. So it's something that the wide public doesn't really understand what you're getting at. And what you're getting at could be a number of things. So it's a very vague word that we slap on a gigantic topic. And it's a topic that we should both be taking completely seriously, but there are aspects of it which we should be dismissing. And it's quite the free-for-all. So the episode I want to talk about today is quite simply, how do you talk about magic to someone who doesn't know anything about it, doesn't necessarily take it seriously, doesn't understand why they should ever be involved or think like this, have never thought like any of this, barely at all, maybe except for outside of intuition and whatever. So this is a general good topic to really debate. So it's the question of like, how do you explain yourself to someone who has absolutely no clue what's going on? And at one point, being shrouded in mystery is the advantage. Being misunderstood is an advantage. It's how the ninja got around so well. You gotta be sneaky. And magic, to be successful, should be sneaky as well. So the point is, you don't always have to explain yourself to everyone, but suppose you did. Suppose you wanted to bring someone into the fold or make them aware of a whole world that's going on around them that they are completely oblivious to. So the question is, where to start, and really, how do you accomplish that? Twice now, my recorder has been shut down, so let's just see what happens this time. So I guess what I really wanted to say, thinking about it here, is that sometimes your anonymity is your superpower. And as much as you may burn not to feel lonely and let yourself be known, you have to understand that giving up your anonymity in the game of magic specifically, it lessens your control. And one of the base points of witchcraft and magic and such is it's about us controlling our environment. The ninja is always in control of a situation. The ninja is always shrouded. They're often in plain clothes. You'd never know who they were. They have the entire room and all the strategies figured out. Being into witchcraft and magic and such, you're playing that role and you know the same thing. So you understand that sometimes you don't really need to explain anything to anyone. And the people who are often most toxic, they're never going to get it in the first place. And I'm talking about not just toxic family members, toxic, individuals in general. Some people are just at a lower level. And this is what we're talking about, because Dr. Zeero is a supervillain, if you haven't noticed. And I've been preaching this sort of Magneto logic, where we're talking about the people who use magic are a cut above the others. And sometimes it's best that they don't know shit. But if you do really, really want to bring someone into fold, you want them to be in the process. You want them to open up to these things because you know that they are going to be into it. that's a different story. But these people in general, people have a knee-jerk reaction when you use the word magic because there's so many connotations and it's going to be thought of wrong. Most often people have this Hollywoodized, fictional perception of what all this stuff is, right? And when it comes down to it, when you use the word magic or you talk about witchcraft or any of this stuff, they're going to picture a green-skinned woman on a broom shooting lightning from her fingertips with a black cat riding around a broomstick, or like a movie like Practical Magic where women dressing like that and they're kind of like hippie-ish and old worldly like that, and they're lighting candles and incense sticks and the usual sort of fucking stereotype that you're going to pull out of your head when thinking about people who run witchcraft shows or stores or new age shops or whatever else. You know, that's what pops in people's heads. They're not going to have any idea what you're saying when you start ranting about how you are a heretic ipsissimus and you're a heretic druid and you're, you know, starting your own malformed version of the Rosicrucian Society and your own secret groups in your own magical orders. And you're talking about all kinds of wild stuff that just sounds totally cuckoo to them to begin with. And the problem with magic is that there's so many avenues to explore. There's so many personalities. There's so many different worldviews and ideas about what is legit and what isn't. And there's so many fraudsters and seekers who have become fraudsters, but they're just frauding themselves because they're full of their own shit. And you never know what someone is going to think when you use a word like magic. So the whole point of what I'm trying to say, if you want to like have them be open to this, maybe not use the word magic. Don't use the word witchcraft. Don't use the word magician or the term magician. Don't say wizard. Don't say any of this stuff. What you say is that you're interested in mind power. Techniques of mind power. Techniques of the imagination, right? The technology of the imagination. You're interested in self-mastery. We tell them that you're interested in spiritual growth, spiritual advancement, spiritual transformation, spiritual refinement. Because sometimes these very vague terms, they're going to go over very, very well in today's climate, in the language of 2026. You know, you got to really speak to people in this language. You can't get locked up in anything archaic. So you got to speak to them. You know, you tell them you're interested in shadow work. That's a nice buzzy topic, but most people don't even really know what that's all about. You know, you can tell them all sorts of stuff, but when you start blathering on the super deep terminology that they're not going to have any clue, this would be very much an erroneous way to move forward with such an endeavor. So it's really a question of, does this person deserve to be brought into the fold? Do they truly deserve it? Do they deserve to know this stuff? Because it's really, some people, they can't handle it. Some people, you have to be very, very, very careful where you start someone's magical journey if you're teaching them this stuff and you're showing them the direction to the bottom of the rabbit hole. Because the wrong thing in the wrong hands at the wrong time can drive someone fucking insane. Because people are naturally have inclination of nonsense, believing in nonsense. And believing in dark nonsense in a search for power. You have to never underestimate the extreme greed of people and the selfishness and just how easily corrupted they are. And, you know, so there's so many books about magic out there that you could give a starter. But this ultra advanced stuff, it's like rigging the deck too fanatically and handing someone way too much power that they don't even understand. And I could mention some books, but I won't because I don't want to continue that chain effect. You know, there's plenty of books that I could name that would be like good examples of that. So, you know, when I do start these situations, when I do set someone off on a path, I always make sure it's somewhere like a safe bet that's not going to lead them to madness, is not going to lead them to self-destruction, is going to lead them to the power. And almost always I'm leading directly to nature, because that's the core of what witchcraft is all about. Now, there's all other people who call themselves satanic witches or infernal witches or whatever. And they think there's really demons and a devil and all this stuff. And then there's like Christian devil worshipers, because they're just Christians who have switched their government. But then there's these other people, theistic Satanists, who have their own view, you know. So I don't know. It's another one of these things. This is a sad thing that has to do with witchcraft. Is you say someone you're into magic or witchcraft, and immediately people start, oh, the devil. They think the devil's real. They think you have anything to do with this. Like you don't think it's ridiculous. Like you don't think it's absolutely insane. So I guess this thing I'm trying to say, the sad part about people being so far behind with their own psychic faculties and their own intuition and their own abilities and their capacity for ritual and what that means and different psychic states they could put themselves in, the mental training that comes with what people call the astral realm, you know, astral visualization, I'll put it better that way. The fact that people are so cut off from this, and the very fact that you have to constantly give a disclaimer and explain to people that magic, but I don't worship the devil. You always have to add the I don't worship the devil thing constantly, because they're so far behind that they think there's some red man with a trident hanging out in the bowels of the earth in a lake of fire, there to punish sinners. Punish sinners. You know, it's fucking horse shit. So I just thought I'd like bring all that up real quick. In a nutshell, that's kind of what I want to say. I wanted to keep it short and sweet today. Do just, take account. Is the person that you're trying to explain magic to, why? Because the question why specifically is going to frame your explanation. You just always have to be ready for their counter arguments. And there's all kinds of counter arguments they will throw at you or ideas. But I wouldn't even, if someone's toxic, things are going to work out better if they don't even know you exist. The most powerful magic practitioners on the face of the planet, it's not like they're going out of their way to leave comments on your YouTube or fucking email you or whatever. They just exist, So, in that same vein, maybe you should be one of the quiet ones, doing your deeds and learning what you can and spreading information to those on the down low. Because, it's about concealed art, trade secrets, all these sort of things. In invisible order, worldwide invisible order, all uniting to bring up that grand pyramid of power. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say today on the Dr. Zeero Xiron Free Magic Secret Show. Stay tuned for more episodes. As always, more things will come along in the future. And as always, here's your hot rockin' outro just for you. Later, kids.
Lanterns burning bright, pumpkins grinning at night. I remember so when rubber bats hanging from poles, little dead are out in droves. I remember so when brown leaf vertigo, where the underworld is known. I remember so when this night anything goes, burning corpses hanging from poles. I remember so when, so when, so when, so when. night, anything goes. Burning corpses hanging from poles. I remember so when. Candy apples and razor blades, little dead or soon in graves. I remember so when. This bright, anything goes. Flaming corpses hanging from poles. I remember so when. So when.